fantasy football drafts are approaching here, and here's a few running backs I would avoid to draft on your draft day. The first guy, Saquon Barkley, the New York Giants. I mentioned last season when I did these pre-draft videos is Barkley is a guy I would avoid, and I'm going back to the well once again. He's a great talent, no doubt about it. He's explosive. He's a playmaker, but he's a guy that can't stay healthy. And this Giant offense, who knows what they're really doing? The offense is pretty much the same this season. I know they changed the front office and all that, but last season, Barkley, 162 carries, 593 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 41 catches, 263 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, and a fumble loss. So right here, at best you're going to get from Barkley's 8 to 10 games, it seems like, each and every season. And even the games he played, he had a lot of off days. Daniel Jones isn't the answer in New York, in my opinion, at quarterback. And Barkley's numbers have definitely taken a hit the last few years with injuries and with Daniel Jones not spreading the field and not having good receivers. I know they got Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney, but are those guys going to stay healthy as well? This whole Giant offense, in terms of health and fantasy options, are a big question mark. So right now, Barkley's going about second, third round in most fantasy leagues, and I'll let someone else go get him in their fantasy drafts. I'd rather go with a receiver or another running back at that time here, and a Javonte Williams or someone in that area over a Saquon Barkley. So right now, I'm avoiding Barkley. Yeah, he could have a big season, but in my opinion, he's a major risk after what we've seen from him over the last few seasons with injuries and poor fantasy performances as well. The next guy, Christian McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers. So McCaffrey, every year now, the last 2 seasons, he's been getting injured, and he's another guy. I can't count on him, and right now he's going top 5 in most fantasy drafts. Last season for McCaffrey, 99 carries, 442 rushing yards, rushing touchdown, 37 catches, 343 receiving yards, and a touchdown. So obviously one of the best wide receiving running backs in the league, if not the best, is Christian McCaffrey. But right now, there's so many other running backs I'd rather take over him this season with his injury-plagued stuff. And at quarterback, who's going to be the quarterback? Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold? I don't think that's a great option over there as well in Carolina, even though McCaffrey could catch a lot of dump-off passes or line up as a receiver at times. But right now, I would take so many running backs over McCaffrey in the early going. I would take a Cook over him. I'd take a Derrick Henry over him, a Joe Mixon, maybe even an Aaron Jones and an Alvin Kamara, because just with his injury concerns, I don't know if he could stay healthy. And over there in Carolina, we don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be. And even if Baker or Darnold wins, is it that much of a big thing over there? McCaffrey, I think his best years are behind him. The injuries definitely take a factor, and he's been a workhorse for the last few seasons, and that's played a toll as well. So right now, he's another guy. I'll let someone else go out there and take him, and I'd rather take, like I mentioned, a Derrick Henry, a Dalvin Cook, a Joe Mixon, or one of the receivers like a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, or Devontae Adams over him earlier in my fantasy drafts. The next guy's Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys. So Elliott, he was a monster the first 3 seasons in the NFL. He's falling off quickly here, Zeke. Right now, he's going mid-second, early third round in fantasy drafts. And last season, he did crack 1,000 yards again, but he was a guy with a torn MCL, supposedly. He played the whole year with 237 rush attempts, 1,002 yards, 10 touchdowns, 47 catches, 287 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. But Zeke, he looked finished to me over the last few seasons here. The speed is down, the burst is gone, and the breakaway touchdowns are gone as well here for Ezekiel Elliott. It seems like now he's just a guy, if you get a hand on him or get a body wrap on him, he's going down. When his first few seasons of his career, he was running guys over and he was hitting that second level. But right now, we don't see a lot of second level stuff here from Elliott. Just a lot of goal line touchdowns, and he was never a great receiver out of the backfield. And now with Tony Pollard looming, and surprisingly, them still having faith in Ezekiel Elliott, even though I thought Pollard was the better running back last season in Dallas. He's a guy I definitely wouldn't want to target, even though you could get him as your second running back on your roster. Still, I would just shy away from Elliott here. Or maybe the injury did play a factor, but either way, the last 2 seasons, he just had no impact really for fantasy owners. And he was a guy that would get maybe 10 or 15 points, but you want more at a running back position. And like I mentioned, the Cowboys have lost some offensive linemen as well, Connor Williams and Lionel Collins. So right here, Elliott this season, I'll let someone else get him as a headache. The only way I would really want to take him if he falls to the 4th round, and you could steal him at that point. But a second or third round, I'd rather go for a better receiver receiver like a Keenan Allen in that, or David Montgomery, a running back in those rounds where these guys are all closely ranked. So right now, I would stay away from Elliott. The next guy, Aaron Jones, of the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Jones right now, he's ranked a late first, early second round player in fantasy drafts. And last season was a down year for Jones. 171 rush attempts, 800 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, 52 catches, 391 yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns with a fumble loss. But right here, I know he's banged up a little bit last season, but right now, no Devontae Adams over here in Green Bay. It's definitely going to close the field down a little, where a lot of defenses had to game plan for Adams, and it would open up the running game and the passing game out of the backfield as well. But now, with Adams out of the mix and Aaron Rodgers going with a lot of number 2, 3 wide receivers in his offense, and also losing Valdez-Scantling, who's a decent deep ball threat, I think they're going to stack the box a little bit more defenses on Aaron Jones, and he's going to have a tough time. And also A.J. Dillon is going to be a major factor in this backfield. A.J. Dillon was having a good season last year with a kind of a split with a 60-40 Aaron Jones committee right there in the backfield. But I think Dillon could take the next step, and I like Dillon's value better this season than Jones, where you could get Dillon as your number 2 running back in the 4th or 5th round if you load up with a few receivers and only one good running back. So right now, with Dillon in the mix here, going to get carries, and with Adams gone and teams going to load the box a little more here, I would stay away from Aaron Jones, especially in the late first, early second round. And the final running back I would stay away from this season's Breese Hall with the New York Jets. So right here, a lot of hype out of Hall. Best running back coming out of college this year in the draft. But right now, this guy, let's think about it. He's on the New York Jets. Do Jet running backs really pan out? Even though last season Michael Carter was pretty impressive for fantasy owners, but Breece Hall is going to be the guy there. But already the Jets have a major issue on the offensive line. Beacon getting hurt and might be out for the season, one of their top offensive lines drafted a few seasons ago, and he's very injury prone. So right now, Hall, he's going late second, early third round in most fantasy drafts, and I'm not going to take a chance on him. If he was on a better offense, like a Kansas City or a Denver or a team like that with a nice offense, I would take a chance on him. But right here, this Jet offense is unknown. I know they upgraded the offensive line, but with the injury to Beckham, it's going to be a problem. With Zach Wilson at quarterback, I don't know if he's the answer. I know it's only his second year, but we got to see what he does. And their receivers are very questionable. I know they drafted a few guys. I know they got Corey Davis in there. I know at tight end they improved with Uzomah and Tyler Conklin. But I still don't think this Jet team's going to be an explosive offense. And they're the 3rd or 4th best team in their division. I think the Bills are better. Miami's got more explosive guys on offense. And the Patriots are the Patriots. They always find a way to compete in that division. So right here, Breece Hall, monster in college, no doubt about it. But right now, his ADP is way too high, and he's on a questionable offense, so I would stay away from him. If he was a 6th or 7th rounder, a different deal it would be here. But right now, as a 3rd or 4th rounder, no way I'm going to take him. So that's a few running backs I've looked to avoid here entering fantasy drafts in the upcoming season.